What's up, YouTube? Welcome out to Take a Hike with Jim. Of course, that makes me, aka your boy Jim, right here. And of course, as you know, as we're getting everything set up, we got our cup of double tea tonight. We've been drinking tea in the evenings, right? This ginger root tea kind of helps with the shots and everything for the weight loss shots.
What's up, YouTube?
But welcome out to the channel. The chat is open, right? Chat is open. We got our original OG Take a Hike with Jim t-shirt. Boom, out here tonight. We are rocking. We thought we was going to be a little bit late this evening. We ended up being able to drop the boy off to work a little bit earlier. He's got a co-worker getting ready to be a daddy for, I think, the first time. So that's exciting, right? But anyway, we're coming on here tonight. We got a lot of things to go. We got a couple things that I think that we really need to address first and foremost right here on Take a Hike with Jim, right? What's up, Melano 3657? Evening, sir. Evening to you. How's it going? Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're having a great day, and we'll get things going. So I kind of want to take some time and do just a little bit of housekeeping, okay? So a little bit of housekeeping right here on Take a Hike with Jim. As we get started, as things roll, has the cloud turns, so to speak, right? Because there is a couple issues that I feel that I need to address, and I would like to address. What up, Brock? I'm excited. 19 days, brother. You talk about nervous. Like the last few days, I slept like at nighttime. It's been crazy hard to sleep. We'll get to that in a minute. But I wanted to do some housekeeping details here, and I wanted to talk about a guy, not about him, but I wanted to address his comment. Apparently, this guy is a follower, because you have to be a follower or a subscriber on my channel to even comment. So, sometime back, I done a video when I was using my new Exos 58 backpack, and I was getting into shape, and I was walking and doing different things with it, and I had it on a treadmill. Well, lo and behold, there's a grumpy old troll who lives under the bridge. His name is What Fred Said, right? I keep receipts. Fred said, had it on a treadmill, laughy face, laughy face, laughy face. Laughing about having my Exos 58 on my back and having it on a treadmill, I guess, versus being out in the woods. Well, Fred, I just want to say one thing to you, and I mean this in quotation marks. Are you ready? And people will get mad when I say this, but here we go. Are you ready? And I mean in all caps. There you go. I don't care what Fred's like. It doesn't matter what Fred has to think, right? So it's say that we're digging it. Yeah, so 19 days away. I am extremely excited. I'm getting extremely nervous. And different things, which is going to make tonight's topic that much better, right? Tonight's topic is going to be what you folks voted for, which was the things that make me nervous about the AT thru hike in 2026. It won with 50%, a little bit over 50% of the vote, and go from there. So we're going to be talking about those things. But man, yeah, it's getting real. Yesterday, just let me say, I went out in the yard. Every tent that I possibly have or could come up with, I was setting up, tearing down. I was doing all kind of things just to make sure that I'm on the up and up, and that, like, which one I want to take. Is my setup time good? Tear down time good? What's my pack away time? All this other stuff. Going through all this kind of a thing and getting ready for the trail. Just keep checking and double checking and triple checking my gear list. We added a few things, so we're a little bit over at 15-pound mark now. So we're going to be closer to 17, 18, which I want to stay at about that 15-pound mark if I could. But we had to add a couple things that we had left out that once we ordered them and got them in and stuff, we put them in there and ended up pushing it over. And I mean, like, I can lose some weight by switching my tent out. I can lose some weight by whatever, but like Brock has said before, at some point you're making exchanges just so you can live with comfort items. So we're just going to go with what we got. We're just going to go with it. That'll put us with food and water at any time. a range of 25 to 28 pounds, which I don't think is going to be too terrible on things. I deliberately put 30 pounds in my pack the other night, of not weights or anything, but clothes, everything I could get. I put in there and I strapped it on. I made them little adjustments on the back. I don't know if you all was here when I done the video when I was talking about it. I didn't know what them little adjustment things were for on the back. Somebody said, hey, once you get those down in, that bag's going to fit phenomenally. I got that kind of dialed in. I think I can go up one more, and it sits better on the hips, but it hurts more here. So I went back down one, and it feels comfortable here, and it feels a little bit, but it's sitting where it needs to sit kind of deal, so the pack's doing good. So I had 30 pounds in it, and I started doing jumping jacks, baby. Started doing some jumping jacks. Sideways, not sitting in the chair. I was doing jumping jacks. My dog was looking at me like, what the hell's wrong with my owner? You know, he's like, he's going crazy all of a sudden. My wife already knows I'm crazy. But anyway, so I just wanted to address that thing at the very beginning. So let's dive into what makes me nervous about the Appalachian Trail through hiking 2026. There's several things, and this will be an open topic, and this will be for you guys out there too that's been through hikers and different things like that. So y'all spit it out and let me know what y'all think and what some of y'all's fears and different things was. Bill, feel free to jump in the chat at any given time. I started really going through tents and checking my tents and really going through them like crazy because last week, because I watched a lot of videos about hiking and through hiking and hiking in bad weather and what to do in a thunderstorm and what to do in a winter storm and what happens if you're in this situation, that situation. I watch a lot of videos and then I go back and I do still have some training videos that are privatized training videos that I had from my days back in the Army. So I was able to finagle some things up to watch some of those things and different things. But I'm so nervous about all of a sudden because I had a couple videos pop up on YouTube about how the Nemo dragonfly, under moderate to high winds, but moderate to high, meaning 12 to 15 and up winds, tend to lead to pole failures within the tent. So put my mind at ease, whatever. Email Nemo. Nemo answered back and was like, look, it has happened. It does happen. It happens with every tent out there. We're not going to say it doesn't, but if it does, we're going to replace it. You know, we don't want you to be afraid, you know, scared, whatever. We want you to know about your warranty. They was really good about it. But still up here, it makes me nervous thinking, okay, I'm carrying this tent. It's a freestanding tent. It's the one I've decided to go with. Out of all the tents and stuff I've done yesterday, it was like super crazy amounts of time and energy and calories and sweating and might have been a few cuss words or two involved. And so I was like, you know what? Let's break out the Nemo. We've set it up before. But we ain't ever really timed ourselves. Let's go. Boom. 2.5 minutes. Up. Got it out. Rainfly on. Everything's got it out. Set up. Footprints down. Mats in the foam mats in the tent. The pillows in the tent. The air mattresses in the tent in like 2.5, 3 minutes. So I was extremely happy with that. That, you know, gear failures make me extremely nervous because on my shakedown hike, that's the one thing that I feel from my shoes to my battery bank to my tent stakes to my cooking stove to my water gathering system for my water filtration system. There was so many gear failures that I had on my shakedown, and you still, like in the days of the Army from Sears training stuff, you trust your gear. Even if it fails, you trust your gear. You look at your gear, you try to fix your gear, you try to revamp your gear, you try to do things and get your gear to get you where you're at because that's your lifeline. But I'm extremely nervous about having gear failures, and the biggest gear failure I'm extremely nervous about is a tent failure. Now, Brock and Chase and One Adventure and Long Distance Hikes and a few of you out there said, hey, look, we was out there, there was people that didn't even carry tents. There was people who went from shelter to shelter or hostel to hostel or whatever and made it through. I'm not that guy. I got to try to kind of have a shelter with me because low key, and I had told the lovely Lady L, who, by the way, is a real troublemaker. I'm just joking. She's not. She's been real busy. She's getting ready. I'm telling you, I thought she'd be out by Valentine's Day. I ain't seen no videos. She made a liar out of me, didn't she? But anyway, the lovely Lady L me and her was talking on a post, and one of my things makes me nervous, believe it or not, is staying in shelters and staying in a bunch of shelters. That isn't my tent. Set the tent up the best direction for the wind. If the wind direction changes, move the tent. Right, and go from there. And that's great advice. It sucks getting up and down at night moving the tent, but it's a freestanding tent, so it ain't going to be like it's going to be a big deal to move it. But in saying that, low-key, like I said, one of the other things, staying in shelters, it kind of makes me nervous and bothers me because I'm not afraid of the spiders and the mice and the snakes, oh my. I'm afraid of the poops in the woods and what comes with everybody sleeping in the shelter and everybody getting sick at one time and getting the poops on the trail and having to come off trail for 2 or 3 days or even longer, maybe even taking you plumb out because you're catching it and the norovirus or whatever. And we are starting in between 2 bubbles. March 1st, there's a bubble, according to Ramdino, Sunday. March 1st, it's shown that there's a bubble, and March 15th, we're in the middle at March 10th. No worries, looks like my base weight is going to be around 18. We will get used to it. Going for a hike tomorrow with everything except food. There you go. So, and that's me. And somebody recommended I've been wearing it around the house. I've been wearing my pack around the house, around the yard, and different things. I wear it around stores if I get away with it, but ever since 9/11, they think that terrorists are going to take planes and hit the Walmart in Fayetteville, West Virginia because, I don't know, it's Fayetteville, West Virginia. You know what I mean? Who wouldn't want to hit Fayetteville, West Virginia? Don't, send ice to my house, okay? If you do, I have a birth certificate. If you know, you know. Just saying, I don't get political. I'm just saying, it's ridiculous that you can't carry a backpack in any damn stores around here for all the crackheads, right? The meth heads. But anyway, in saying that, so anyhow, staying in shelters make me nervous because of sickness and different things like that and being in close contact with others. And I've seen some videos of people, they put tarps up and stuff like that within the shelters, dividing between them and people and stuff like that if they get a good, decent spot or, things like that while they're in there. But, other than the Tennessee section, you can pretty much set your tent up outside anywhere you go. I've been hiking as well, my packing ready to go. AT! What's up, brother? I hear you, man. Man, you threw me for a trip yesterday. You sent me that text, and I thought I'd answered it. And then I looked back and it wasn't there. I was like, am I losing my dang mind? Did he not ask me a question? I was like, maybe I dreamed it. I don't know. But anyway, because I fell asleep in the tent in the yard after setting up, just sitting there for a minute. I was like, this is the 3rd tent. It's hot. I'm just going to lay here for a minute. Got me a swig of water and just laid there and woke up about an hour and a half, 2 hours later. So anyway, in saying that, so yeah, it's the catching sickness within shelters that bother me. And cold, probably don't got to worry about it a whole heck of a lot. The warmer it gets and different things go from there. And then has people get the norovirus and different things. Here's a simple remedy, folks. Wash your dang hands. And I know people's like, well, you can't because you only can take hand sanitizer and you don't kill the virus. But listen, get you a little bit of extra water if you need to or whatever. Get you a little bit of that Dr. Bronner's or whatever it is. Put a little bit on there. Natural, nice soap. Just put it on there and rinse it. Who cares if all the soap comes off or not? You can do that next water hole or whatever you got to do. But at least it's a little bit cleaner than hand sanitizer. And maybe take a chance not getting some people sick. Bump elbows, stuff like that. So you go see me out there like, well, hey, man, what's up? Or, hey, man, what's up? And if I know you, I might give you a fist bump and a bro, hey, what's up? But that's about where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to get the poops out there, So low key, that's a failure there. That's kind of something that makes me nervous. Is shelters. I'm terrified. This was one of my fears. You guys remember when I talked about it. I'm fascinated but terrified at the same time of thunderstorms. So I've been watching some different things when it comes to thunderstorms and things like that. Basically, I only slept in two shelters my whole hike. Rangers made me. There you go. Storms. Anyway, watching the storms, everything. I've been watching videos about the storms and different things. A tent is not. I lost my train of thought there for a second. A tent will help from the rain. It's going to help from the wind. it's not going to help from the lightning, and there's nothing you can do to help from the lightning. So I've just been learning the steps and stuff you take. I've been learning the myths versus reality. And the myth is, well, you put your pad down and you kind of squat down, don't touch nothing metal, try to keep your feet on the pad versus the ground, and it's less with the ground, and da-da-da-da. None of that works. So if lightning decides to hit you, it's going to hit you. Apart from being in a car, a building, or something very well insulated, or something that will shed it off. In a tent, it's melt the whatever, and go from there. So I Googled and tried to figure out what the reality of tent strikes was by lightning, and they don't have an exact number, but it's fewer than 1 in 10 million. So I think I'm gonna be okay. It's just my own personal fears, right? And only 90% of people who get struck by lightning, they live anyway. They have burns, they have issues, but they live. So only about 10%, being my luck, that'd be the one lottery ticket that I actually did win. I'm not worried about the snow. I'm not worried about the cold. I'm not worried about the Rangers must have been in Tennessee to make him sleep in the shelters. I'm not worried about the rain. I'm not worried about the cold. Low key, I'm not worried about the thunderstorms or the lightning so much as I am wind and stuff like that, because I plan on staying in tent more. But I figure now that I've got that, I'm learning how to guy things out a little bit better than I did before, because before I just kind of trusted, well, you stake this out, make this line taut, you take it and make this line taut, you take it and make this line taut, and then over time, whatever. So I've learned some different knots, I've learned some different hitches to tighten some things. I've got some things coming from Amazon to kind of help me with tensioners and stuff like that for my extra guide outlines and stuff like that. So, there's some things there that makes me extremely, extremely, extremely nervous when it comes to my Appalachian Trail through hike. And, gear, like I said, that tent failure, I have nightmares about that. I'd be more scared of digging up a cat hole than anything, Frog said. Yeah, so let's talk about that nervousness, right? So, here in West by God, cat holes ain't as popular. They do exist, but they're not as popular because there are a lot of day hike trails. There ain't a lot of, like hiking, stay overnight trails. You get Canaan Valley, Seneca Valley, Greenbrier Valley River Trail, the Allegheny, there's some, but not a lot, right? So, the one time that I had to go, I was walking this trail, and there's a mountain this side, a big drop off this side. So what you do, you kind of go down over the hill a little bit as best you can. You find your little place, you do your business, and you dig your hole, you do your business, you go back up. So I ain't afraid of digging up a cat hole. But my thing is, about falling back in it, because I've heard of that happen to people. Fall back in it, or going to stand up, or however they're doing the break dance, they're doing the pole hold, they're doing the squat and trot, whatever. And then they go to move, and they either step back in it or fall back in it or whatever. And here's the thing. If you think it's a pretty good poop spot, chances are somebody else has thought it's probably a good poop spot. So when you're doing your cat hole, look for little sticks and sticking up and stuff like that and go over there. You know what I mean? And then don't use your shovel for a something to eat with. I won't know anybody that done that. Anyway, I ain't going to call out names. That'd be horrible. But anyway, a used cat hole. Yeah, so, and go from there. But I don't know. So that bothers me a little bit, but not as much. Pooping in the woods and stuff like that don't bother me. Hey, listen, everybody's got to poop. Everybody's got to pee. So if people walk up on you, got that thing whipped out, you're off trail nice, decent ways, you're beside the tree, and you got that thing unzipped, and you're taking a whiz or whatever, and somebody comes by and they're like, what are you doing? Or hey, you're going to have embarrassing moments, whatever. It don't bother me. Like in the military, there was times in the barracks when we went to old places and stayed at old barracks like Fort Pickett, Virginia. There was no stalls between the toilets. You pretty much sat next to the guy taking a dump with you, unless you wanted to take your poncho liner and block it off or whatever. I mean, same thing out in the field and different things. I mean, we was in Iraq for a while. We did have Porter Jones, but for a while we didn't. You know what I mean? So you just got to do what you got to do. It just is what it is. So that kind of getting walked up on, that people seeing you doing whatever, don't really bother me. Everybody's got to poop. Everybody's got to pee. And females got even more problems than we do. And I feel for them, right? But I don't got to worry about those issues. But anyway, so some other things that, kind of make me nervous. The thing that makes me the most nervous, and it comes from being on YouTube. And it's no offense to my subscribers. I thank the world of each and every one of you. You know I do. And I'm very appreciative of everything y'all do for this channel. And speaking of which, if you ain't a subscriber already, hit that subscribe button, little bell notification, give us a thumbs up, let us know that you're here, right? But in saying that, one of the things that kind of worries me, it makes me nervous, not scared, but nervous. Gets on the trail and people will see my videos and they're like, uh-oh, what? Here comes that guy. Let's hide, let's hike faster, let's do what we can to get away from him. If you don't want to hike with me, that's fine. That's cool. You don't got to. If you don't want to speak to me, that's fine. You don't got to. Just like I don't got to speak to anybody either. But in saying that, I don't want to be the guy that I look up and it's like I see people trying to run from me type of deal. And I don't know that that's necessarily going to be a problem because I've had people ask, hey, can we hike with you? So, you know, maybe we'll start building our own tramily. You know, but long before we even get out there. That would be amazing. And go from there. But, you know, meeting people on trail, that's kind of not a fear, but it makes me nervous. Meeting people on trail and different things. And it comes down to trust your gut, too. I mean, there's not a whole lot of bad things, per se, that happen on trail, but they do happen on trail. And there's a lot of things that can be avoided if people listen to their gut and then just report it and let people know what's going on and making everybody else aware of what's going on. I'm not scared of sleeping in a tent in the woods by myself. I'm not scared of the dark. I'm not scared of, like I said, the cold. That don't make me nervous. I think the only time I'd get kind of nervous about being in the woods, sleeping alone, is if a storm blowed through. That would kind of make me a little bit nervous. Because the more numbers you have in different things, the better off I feel like in that situation you are, especially if something happened. Somebody can do CPR, somebody can call 911, somebody can hit your button on your Garmin, whatever the case may be, to kind of help you out. Sure, you might have to wait till the storm's over, but it's nice to know there's somebody there that maybe can help do something, you know what I mean? And go from there. But there's several things that just make you nervous. Several things that make you nervous, you know. A lot of the things that's making me nervous at this point, because Brock said, hey, you get, you know, getting closer. You know, one of the things is making sure I've done everything here at the house I can do to make it as easy as possible on my family in the time I'm gone. Because it may not seem like Jim does a lot around here, but Jim does a lot. You know, I won't say I do as much as everybody else or more, but Jim does a lot. And I like to think we all throw in about equal around here. So, well, not all of us, you know. But anyway, in saying that, I ain't going to point none of the family members out. But in saying that, you know, it's all about, I want to make sure everything's good to go. I keep second guessing little things here. Is the truck going to be in the garage? Because I have a 56 Ford that I'm restoring that can't be left outside. It has to be pushed back into the, it has to be pushed into the garage, or the city will be on my family's butt here. So it's got to get back in here so we can finish building a hot rod out of it, you know. So we got that going on. You know, hiring a lawn boy to cut the grass while I'm gone. Because it's a big enough lot, you know, I don't want my wife on the old riding lawnmower that I got that likes to tip over on you. So, because I've never got, you know, around to getting us a newer one. So I got an older one that works while I replace it, right? So just things like that. Just, you know, make sure the oil changes has been done in the car, the property taxes are paid, the vehicle taxes are paid. You know, being nervous about that kind of stuff is, you know, what's going through my head the most right now. How to make things more comfortable here at home for them while I'm gone, and really prepping people for the fact that I'm not going to be here. I don't know if y'all watched Hiking Dancer, or AKA Roadrunner's thru hike, when she done her first thru hike of the Appalachian Trail. People in her family and friends and everything said, hey, you'll be back within 2 weeks. People in my life's not even giving me a chance to step out on the trail. Now, some immediate family and stuff like that, yes, but not all of them. But there's some local people that are behind me and support me, but there's a lot that are making fun of me during this process and everything, because, you know, people tend to fear what they don't know, and then it ain't so much as a bullying situation, you know, making fun of a situation, joking about a situation, or poking at a situation is a defense mechanism, right? It's a defense mechanism. They don't know how to handle the situation because it makes them nervous. Like you're going to ask them for something or something like that, you know, and I'm not going to. But but making sure all of the bases here at home are taken care of. That is one of the big deals. Talking to my mother today, and she says, "What happens if you get out there and you have to come off trail?" Because we was talking about some people that's already came off trail, right? Because my mom knows I watch people. She's like, "How's your buddies doing on the trail?" I was like, "Well, there's some people that I've never met in person. I've talked to them online. Pappy's had to come off trail now. He's got an ankle injury. The Marlowe factor came off because the person he walks with fell face forward but still hurt his knee. And Marlowe, with his health issues, don't want to be out there enough. So them 3 are gone, right? 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 boom. Wolfie is off trail. So boom, 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 there's 4. So, you start looking at all these people that I feel have more hiking experience than me. And they're out there and they're gone. The trail has chewed them up already. And I'm not saying they won't be back out. I'm not saying they won't be on trail this year. I'm not saying they won't finish. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're not good people. I'm not talking trash about them. I support them. I'm going to miss seeing their videos until they get back into whatever happens. But I'm looking at it, and me and my mom's talking, and I'm like, she goes, "What you got to do if you got to come off trail? What's the odds?" And I'm like, I can't go into this with the mindset of if I have a valuable escape route. The only way home is what's on my feet. That's it. There's no. The only way to West Virginia is through Maine, and there is no other option in my mind. I mean, if I sprain my ankle, hurt my knee, whatever, and I got to take time off, whatever, fine. I'm going right back out there. They're going to have to drag me off this trail to get me to come off of it. I mean, that's just the mindset I have to have. Now, in reality, I understand how hard it's going to be. It's going to be hard. And I appreciate Chase telling me, hey, you know what? Find stumps to sit on, find a rock to step on. Take stops as you're going up these hills. This elevation's no joke. Other people want to venture. Hey, this elevation's no joke. Brock telling me you need to get out there and do better climbs and all these things. I appreciate every bit of that's knowledge you can't buy that in books. You can't get that from anywhere else except for people who's done the through hikes. And I think that you would be absolutely a moron not to listen to people who's actually done this thing from start to finish and listen to them and learn from what they're saying. And not only just them, the people that's tried to do it and have not made it probably learn more from that than the ones that have. Not saying anything bad about the ones that ain't made it. It's just life happens, right? But you can learn from things. I mean, like when I went to go open a martial arts school years ago, I went to all my old karate school teachers when I was a kid that's still alive, and I sat them down and we had a steak dinner, each one of them. And I said, I don't want to know what you did at work. I want to know the things that didn't work or the ideas that you never tried. Go. And within my first year of running a martial arts school in a little poke town in West Virginia in the middle of hell's nowhere, I made over $100,000 teaching karate my first year. Now, I didn't clear that because of taxes, expenses, overhead, and all that, but that's what we made. And it was because I listened to the ones that have been there. And I learned. And that's what I'm trying to do. And that's why I love coming here doing the lives. I don't get the chance to go out in the woods to do the hikes and do as much as I was and travel and everything around because, like I said, tidying everything up here at the house. We lost a barber at my daughter's barber shop, so I've had to fill in there. My mother has to have medicine. She has to have doctor's appointments. She has to run a store, different things. So my wife's been doing all of it. I'm gone, so I'm trying to help her with that as much as I can now. Stuff around the house, like I said, has to be done. I'm trying to dial another family member in saying, hey, you better wake up. I'm not going to be here. You're going to have to do more. So there's so much, and the hours aren't there to do what I was doing before as far as getting ready. And like Chase said, at some point you got to look at it and say, at this point, you're 19 days out. I'm not sure that the shakedowns and the elevation hikes are going to make that much of a difference at this point. So it just is what it is. There's been plenty of people that's went out there that's completed this thing and never had any elevation hike. The biggest elevation hike and the biggest elevation change I have underneath my belt for my training is 1,483 feet on the New River Gorge. So that's the biggest elevation change that I hiked went through. Let me get a sip here. So anyway, about nervousness. Back to that. So Getting sick out on trail, obviously, not just the shelter part of it, but just getting sick in general out on trail kind of makes me nervous due to my health, due to my history of my health and everything. So I got to be very cautious. I got to take different precautions and different things. I never, ever want pneumonia or double lung pneumonia again in my life. I never want COVID again in my life. I know there's people that believe in it, people that don't. Not here to argue that. Just telling you, it was one of the worst things I've been through, and I had the dang vaccination. I was one of the first 300 American civilians to get it. Or get the vaccine, that is. So I don't want none of those things. And I don't want real rough sickness out there. I'm doing everything I can as far as tick protection. We got the stuff that we got to spray our clothes, our tent, and all that. I'm waiting a little bit out because I think it says about every 8 weeks or so. So about every 8 weeks, I'm going to have to be going and buying that and spraying it, doing whatever. Unless Brock or Chase want to venture long distance hikes. One of you folks that's out there can tell me what you did that worked or didn't work. Did you use that? Did you not use it? And go from there. But as of now, I plan on using that quite frequently. I got some unscented tick and bug spray for myself for when it comes time, whatever, and do tick checks daily. Just like the lady, it was Risa, or it was Bad Bath Hikes was talking about. Make sure that you check for ticks, daily. Do what you got to do. And there's some hard to look spots and places. Somewhere down the line, somebody maybe be like, "Hey, you mind looking here?" And be like, "Hey, it is what it is." There's nothing that it's going to be embarrassing for Jim. Jim has seen it all, being in the military as a combat medic for a while, a field medic for a little bit. Trust me, I've seen it all. But anyway, so low key being sick out on the field. Don't want to try to get sick out on the field. Sniffles, something like that. That's one thing. But I don't want to stay up and can't cough in my head all night. I'm nervous about the mileage. When it comes to hiking the mileage. I know that don't make sense because, I got some big West by God shoes to fill. We have people like Wolfie out there knocking out like 67 miles in 3 days. That's not happening with me. Or 4 days. That's not happening. So the mileage just is what it is. You know what I mean? They say hike your own hike, and that's what we're going to try to do. We'll try to hike our own hike. Go from there. Brock says I just check check myself every night. And after fields, there you go. So that's what I plan on doing. Doing a quick feel down, pat down, rub down, whatever I got to do. If I feel something that feels out of ordinary, be like, "Hey, can you look at that right there? Is that a mole or is that a tick?" That type of deal. But yeah, and then spraying my stuff, spraying myself, and going from there. I think the tick's the number one thing that takes more people out on Appalachian Trail than anything else. Probably norovirus is a close second, right? And then knees and ankles and that kind of related issues, I would say is probably a dead on 3. Rob, when I started my hike in Georgia, I was in the bubble and worried about the ground being a minefield of cat holes. Somewhere in the first week, I left the tent/shelter to find a cat. A cat hole. So there you go. You're going to find them. It just is what it is. He said 1 and 2, so he's going to type the other piece on there next. But anyway, so yeah, so I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'd be interested to hear what some of the other people who's already done it, what some of their nerves were like, and kind of what it was that they was feeling and getting there from there. So Chase continues to go and say, "I was stunned to see holes everywhere. Crap, literally my worst nightmare. Eventually I realized this was just the wild hogs digging in the ground." He said they're dangerous in Georgia. Yep. So anyway, he said this. Okay. Anyway, so I've heard of the toilet paper trees too there, Chase. But I don't know. So we I'd be interested to see some of what other people's nervousness and fears was to see if it's close to mine. I had a thru hiker to say on a video I watched yesterday, she was like, "I'm going to say the exact opposite of what everybody says. People say don't pack your fears." She said, "I'm telling you, if you want to pack an extra lighter or an extra flashlight or whatever the case may be, pack your fears if it makes sense to. If it's what it takes to keep you calm and comfortable at camp on this hike, pack what you got to pack, whether it be an extra t-shirt, all that other stuff. And I can agree but disagree. Weight management is a thing. Now that this pack, I've lost some weight. The pack set's different. I've adjusted it. I'm dialing it in even more. I feel good with the weight that's on there. Plus I added some weight up. I don't think I'll be that heavy on trail. But I was comfortable with that weight. So, even though I don't think I'll be that heavy on trail, and go from there. So, and go from J3Hike says, I agree with Chase. As close to 12, 15 pounds base weight as you can get, I 100% am in agreement with that. And I mean, we have tried, and I have tried everything. I was there until my battery pack came in. I forgot to throw my rain jacket in there. My rain jacket is extremely light, but I throwed it in there. There was a couple little things that I put in, and it was still like boom. Chase says, I started the trail with everything sprayed with permethylene. After the first spray, I pretty much ignored it, just visually check and also feel around each night. Also, do not wear dark clothes. Okay, so most of my clothes are light except my shorts for when I'll probably get a pair of Hawaiian 5.0 shorts along the trail somewhere. I'm going to take what I got right now. Hawaiian 5.0, you know. But anyway... lighter clothes, different things like that. My medic kit, still putting it together. Got some Benadryl in there. I haven't had to carry shot injections for years. I finally, I think, kind of grew out of the bee sting thing where I have to stab myself and hit with a pin. The last time I got stung multiple times, and I was fine with some Benadryl. So we're going to take Benadryl with us. We've got some Tylenol, some Advil. We got some blister care. Foot stuff is the main thing for me. We'll take, although we got the new Hoka shoes, so we should be, in theory, fine. The Hoka 7s, the Speed Goats. Yay! The weight that I have and the weight that's in there, like, my buddy up there was saying, hey, they got about 18 pounds too, so that's about where we're at, and that's what we're going to have to. That's just what we're going to have to roll with. So, low keys talk about some other fears. I watched a video the other night of this young lady, and of course, this wasn't on the Appalachian Trail, but she's out and she's in a field and she's in the middle of nowhere and she's in a bivy sack and she's camping, and all of a sudden she hears, "Oi, knock knock, anybody in there?" And she's like, yeah. And this guy just wouldn't quit hovering and leaving the tent or leaving her bivy area, whatever. So eventually, after she kind of saw him kind of walk away for a little bit, she packed up and got out of there. So, I mean, a little bit nervous about some people. I'm not if I'm outside my tent and somebody wants to start something, they're going to find out what a 2-time Martial Arts Hall of Fame 4th degree black belt is all about. The last champion in the state of West Virginia in 2013. They're going to find out what I'm about. Jim don't look like he's got much. Jim know kung fu. Jim know good kung fu. If you know, you know, right? But if I'm in my tent sleeping or whatever, they go to jump water, they start doing stuff through my tent. It's going to be hard until I get out. We're just going to have to hope we dodge and miss. Somebody, who was it? Was it AT? Somebody sent me a picture of a karate guy fighting a bear by the river in a meme. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. No, I'm not going to karate fight a bear, even though I know personally there are people that claim to be jiu-jitsu masters that have wrestled with bears. I'm not nervous about bears. I'm not nervous about moose. I'm not nervous, kind of a little bit nervous about rattlesnakes in Pennsylvania and north of Pennsylvania. Kind of nervous a little bit about rattlesnakes. I've heard some horror stories where people, most time I've seen on video, people see them right out in the open, but I have heard some horror stories where they have about stepped on one because it's right underneath a rock or in between rocks or whatever. So, I mean, you got to really slow down, pay attention, take your time, look, use your trekking poles in front of you. make sure that everything's going to be on okay. So I'm a little bit worried about the rattlesnakes, not scared of them because we have them here, but a little bit nervous about that as well. I'm nervous about the thing, and I'm not going to say nervous. The thing that terrifies me the most, the one thing that I lose sleep over, the one thing that even when I'm whatever thinking about it, and I've watched more videos on, and as I watch the videos, I'm still absolutely terrified of, is the whites. I'm scared of them. I respect them. The whites take a lot of people out. And it's, you know, it's the heights thing, which I feel that I can get over by the time I get there with my trail legs and everything a little bit. But it's also, you know, the weather changes on a dime up there. There's times that the wind's blowing so hard, the fog's in. You only get about 40 days a year that the sun is actually shining and it's good weather up there. You know, I'm just so worried about the whites to the point of, if we get that close and we got a clear window where it could be knocked out in one day, I may be with a tramley, I may not be. I'm hoping to be at that point because I really don't want to tackle the whites alone. I really don't. To the point that I would almost pay a guide to go with me on the whites because, and I know people be like, well, that's cheating and that's whatever, and you're thinking too much into it. I have that, like, I have a respect and a healthy fear, and that is a deep down fear, not a nervousness, is the whites. The whites is what shake me up. I'm not worried about Katahdin. I'm not worried about Knife's Edge. I'm not worried about none of that. I'm worried about the whites, right? And if I can knock it out in one day, knock it out one day. Of course, get it 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, whatever you got to do to make it happen. But if I can knock the whites out in one day, just like for my own sake of mine, I think it's just what I'm going to have to do. I don't know that staying in one of the huts or shelters or doing a work thing is going to work for me. I think, you know, got to get through it. Try to knock as much of it out one day as I can. I'm just terrified of it. Let me know what you guys think that's been there before. I'm overthinking it, over-exaggerating it, or is it good to have a healthy fear of the whites? I mean, so that'd be a good topic we can put out there for vote on, right? What parts of the trail scared you or worried you the most? And which ones worry me, you know, which you already know, the whites. So, but anyway, so there's that. And I'm worried about, it makes me nervous. Chase Life says one day's not possible. I've seen videos on YouTube of people doing it. So how's it not possible? I mean, I've literally seen people do it on, like, unless they're lying on the videos, it's like, what, 20-some miles? Let me see here. The presidentials, maybe not the whole whites, but the presidentials, let's see. How many miles for the whites on the AT? So no, I don't guess it would be. It says the whites itself is 100, 105 miles. So let's see the presidentials. Presidential range in New Hampshire. That's the part that's the part that gets me. 18 to 23 miles. Yep. So the whites itself one day is not possible, but the presidentials are. Okay. So maybe that's what I've been watching, because I've been watching Jackson, Jefferson, Washington, Franklin, Monroe, all those things where them guys go up and it's like 23, 30 miles and they knock it out one day. That's the part of the whites that scares me. The whites overall don't. That's the part of the whites that scares me. I guess maybe it's safe to say that the presidentials versus the whites then, right? So, yeah. So, sorry, Chase. Anyway. But, yeah, so... I don't know. It's just like there's certain things that get me there. And, you know, not worried about the 100-mile wilderness, especially since Chase, Brock, and other people have told me that, you know, you can pretty much get that resupply thing. That resupply drop out there, so I'm not too worried about that now. They've put my mind at ease about that. Boom. So yeah, that's about all the things next service. Look, let's talk about some of the things we're looking forward to. Low key, I know I say it a lot here the last few days. I'm very much looking forward to that outdoor theater. Brock said whites were amazing. Weather can suck though. Yeah. So let's talk about the presidentials. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about the presidentials. That's the part I'm talking about. That's just like, I don't want to go there. Don't want to be there. I'm going to be there, but I don't want to be there. But anyway, I want to go to that theater, the outdoor theater. I think it's like in New York or something like that. I want to experience that. You can't go to the zoo this year. I'm guessing your confidence increases as you go. By the time you get to the presidentials, you'll be good. I'm hoping. Farm girl, I am hoping. They're doing a reroute. You can't. I don't know if it's still going through the zoo, but you just can't go by the bears in the zoo, right? And then I think that that's where the pool's at too. That you get a chance that you can go there and pay a couple dollars, shower off, and go boom, and go from there. Still can't do it in one day. Sorry. What? You can't do the presidentials in one day? Okay, so the video, like I said, I might not be able to do the whites in one day. I know for I don't know. I'm gonna go back and see if I can click some videos, and see. But I'm pretty sure there's people that's done the presidentials in one day. Let me see. Can the presidential traverse be hiked in one day? Presidential traverse New Hampshire can be hiked in one day, but it's extremely demanding. 1923-mile track with over 8,500 to 9,000 feet of elevation gain, and it takes experienced hikers 12 to 15 hours. It's commonly done in one day from north to south valley way to Crawford Path during the summer. It requires excellent weather, fitness, and preparation for the rocky terrain, and it is extremely difficult. So yeah, it can be done. Reroute is around the zoo, I believe. I think it is too, Chase. I think the reroute is around the thing too. Mount Washington is one of the deadliest mountains in the United States. Gee, thanks, Mike. I'm trying to get my fears down. Anyway, so say that. Like I said, I don't claim to know everything. I don't claim to be able to do everything. I don't claim that I'm the expert on a trail, because I'm not. I get a lot of things wrong, and when I get it wrong, I say, "Hey guys, I'm wrong. Apologize." Whatever. I look it up, fact check it, and be like, "Okay, here we go." And try to put it out there. Walk up Mount Washington and down just that one mountain will take more than a day, in your opinion. Well, I'm not saying it won't. I'm not saying that it can't, but I'm saying that, I will go on YouTube and pull some stuff up, and I'll post some links over on my page. And it takes, these guys start at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and they're out there until dark. And I don't know that they completely 100%. They just come down, Jackson, Jefferson, whatever the last mountain thing is, into the tree line, and there is a shelter thing there, and go from there. He said, I spent one day walking down from Mount Washington and finished it in the dark. So yeah, I mean, it can be done. The weather can go very quickly on Mount Washington. Folks get stuck in rough weather when they're unprepared. And that's what I'm trying not to be. I'm trying not to be unprepared. I really am trying not to be unprepared. I'm really, really trying my best to do what I got to do to get where I'm going. You know what I'm saying? Let me go over here. There it is. TRAVERSE in one day. See, Outside TV, 7 years ago, done a video where they done it in one day. Backcountry Trek's done it where they done it in one day. Nikki De Levante, she done it in one day. There's several out there that's done it. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to do whatever or poke a bear, but it can be done. It's just extremely difficult. In the words of Jean-Luc Picard, right, Patrick Stewart, something is only impossible until it is done. Right? I did 20s in the whites every day. I hiked nasty weather days. I slept. Yes, I mean, like, I think I got it confused when I said the whites is what's scaring me the most. It's the presidentials that really do. And I always put the whites as the presidentials as the same, but I guess they're two different. Like I said, when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. But that's kind of where I'm at. But in saying that, but yeah. So the reroute is around the zoo. I looked that up just a second. I think they do have the reroute around the zoo. I wonder if the reroute around the zoo is also around the public swimming hole or the big swimming pool they had up there. Go from there. Most hikers will tell you, however fast you hike, you'll go slower than white. I've heard that, actually. I've heard that before, long before. There's a group of hikers and thru-hikers that have done it that live here in my hometown that was down at a local Tudor's. And then one of the gentlemen had told me that. He said, when you hit up north, sometimes the mouse seem, even though you walk faster, you're going slower type of deal. So I've heard that. Like I said, not worry about the 100-mile wilderness. I'm not doing the 4-state challenge. I've already decided I'm not going to do that. What is it, 40-some miles? So no, you still walk around the swimming area in the park. Cool. I'm all about the swimming area, right? That's a place I was looking forward to wanting to do. Yeah. Not doing I can't do the half-a-gallon challenge. It will lay me out. I plan on having some ice cream, but I'm not going to be able to do the half-a-gallon challenge. The Damascus, what is it? The Damascus challenge or whatever, where you're pushing to get in Damascus by whatever. I think I might do that one. Maybe. It just depends. I plan on trying to even spend the night, maybe 2 in Damascus, even before trail days. And then maybe one night before trail days. And then hiking out. And then I got to get a shuttle and come back to Damascus for trail days. As I should be fairly north of trail days, but Damascus. But I definitely want to do trail days. Plus great vending machines in the park. I haven't heard nothing about the vending machines. Is that the place that's got the... Tell me, Chase. Is that the place that's got the vending machines with the ice cream cones? Be honest. Anyway, I've seen somebody say something about the vending machines with the ice cream, right? Mount Washington is the wild card. J3 Hikes 444, you're right. Mount Washington is the wild card. Mount Washington is the one that's going to be... Now, Wolfie had told me that there's going to be places in the Smokies that's going to help get me ready for the presidentials. So, I don't know. The presidents, we'll go from there. But I don't really know. Having never been there, ever in my life. I've seen countless videos of it, but never been there. Keyword, excellent weather needed. There were a lot of vending machines there. Also at Bear Mountain, New York. Man, I hope that they have the ice cream machine. That'd be cool. I can't do a half-gallon challenge, but I do want to do I've never had an ice cream out of a vending machine. I know, it's weird. West Virginia, we don't got those. So we just don't. Matter of fact, our vending machines, a lot of them are gone. We don't even really have vending machines anymore. They even took our claw machines away from us and stuff at Walmart. We don't have that kind of stuff here no more, right? That's for all the cool kids up north. So, and go for, hey, you know. So, yeah, let's move forward. I want to talk real quick about some of the people that's out there. I don't know if Pappy's coming back on trail or not. I hope he does. I hope this ain't the end of his journey this year. I know he said he twisted his ankle. I saw it on a video. I hope his ankle ends up being okay, and I hope he's able to come back. I really enjoyed it. So, Pappy, if you don't get to, go from there. Hooter Hikes was the one that fell. Hooter, I hope we're praying for you. I hope you get to feeling better. So listen, Marlowe, the Marlowe Factor, the kid, check it out. If you haven't got to step back on the trail by the time we come through and you want somebody to walk with, please, please, please walk with us, man, because I'm here to tell you, dude, I think the world of you. I know you don't know me when I've watched your videos, but I like this. I will put a pin in this. After you walk all those presidential battles, I will ask you what you think about doing it in one day. I'm going to do my best to do it one day. I might not be able to do it, but I'm going to do my best to do it one day. If the weather and stuff's permitting. Now, if it's going to be pretty nasty weather, rain, foggy, high winds, and stuff, then yeah, I'm going to have to stop at some of the huts and stay and do whatever I got to do. But I really want to try to push to do it in one day. I don't want to hang out up there. I want to get it behind me. It's one of those moments that's going to be for me on trail. You know, the moments it says where you're really out here, you're really doing it, and everybody has that moment. I've already said that beating my man out there, Leapfrog Cafe, that's going to be a moment. Mountain Washington's going to be a moment. I'm sure standing on top of Katahdin, I'm going to have a moment. That this is it. What happens, nervous about what happens when I come back. Where does that go? Where do I go from there? I mean, I have a lot of people, it's even on YouTube, that's betting against me. And that's fine. I got tons of y'all that are betting for me. But I got some people that's betting against me. And, the one thing that people, like you can see the weight of my pack. You can see the type of gear that I have. People can critique everything about everything I'm carrying. But the one thing that people have no idea, the one thing that is the wild card, the one thing that is the factor that nobody knows when it comes to Jim Ellison is his heart and his drive. Finished basic and AIT. And I didn't go to a week AIT. Our basic was 9 weeks. My AIT was 10 weeks. Went in summer surge, had holdover status and hold under status in between both. If you've been in the military, you know what those are. I finished all that time training, running, jumping jacks, all of them things. I done it with 22 stress fractures between 2 feet. And I done it. And that included the final 12 mile or however many long it was, 12, 16, I think it was 12 mile. Victory Forge Ruck March with 60 pounds, Go from there. Who cares what people think? This is your adventure. Go from there. The more followers you get, the more trolls come out from underneath the bridge. You have to learn to tune out the haters. And I don't think there's any haters in chat right now. Let me say that. I don't think there's no haters out there in chat right now. I really don't. I've just had a couple here and there. But at the same time, and going for Chase, like mental is a huge part of this. People. One of the guys that I've talked to here locally that's thru-hiked it, like I said, the Tutors group. I call them the Tutors group. If you don't know what a Tutors is, you need to Google it. If you've never ate at a Tutors and you come through West by God, you got to stop at a Tutors, man. Get your big old goat head biscuit, right? But anyway, so in saying that, talked to them and they was just like, about the mental part of it. It's like people that tend to be over the age of 40 usually make it because mentally they're a lot stronger than the younger guys. Now, watching videos, I ain't seen that where that's a fact or a case, but mental is a major part of this, and the mindset. Jason Carter says it best. Anybody can hike. Anybody can get up, go out there, a little bit of effort, do 6, 8, 10 miles. But can you do it the next day? 6, 8, 10. Your fan club will pounce on any haters in live chat. You got that right. Got that right. Chase has probably got a musket stored in all of his gear room. He'd be the one to lead the charge, right? But anyway, man, nothing but respect for you, Chase. But it's saying that I really do. Nothing but respect for everybody in here. But it's saying that, right? I threw out the old-fashioned East, right? So you know. But anyway, where was I going with this? So the huge mental part of it, right? And they was telling me, when you go into this, you got to look at it as a deployment, a self-deployment, military deployment type of thing. And that's how I was talking to my mom earlier, and I was telling y'all, I was talking to her earlier, I was like, there's only a couple ways I'm happy to come off that trail and go from there. Chase said samurai sword. Huh? If you know, you know. I'm all about the samurai swords. And go from there. I have one I'll have to break out and put it on video for you one day. But anyway, in saying that, the samurai sword that I have was given to me. It was passed down when I got my Shodan, my first degree black belt. Anyway, in saying that, so the middle part of it, yep. I was talking to my mom, and I was telling my mom that they're going to pull me off this thing. Sorry, let's talk about Pappy real quick. So Pappy, sorry you had to come off trail. Hope you get to come back out. Tie-dye goat, hope you're having a good time. I love tie-dye goat's comment she made the other day. Can't wait till Friday for y'all to read that. It's hilarious. I laughed till I about pissed myself. But got her out there. Who Your Hikes, hope your knee heals. Marlowe Factor, like I said, the kid, you're more welcome. If he can't go back on trail, we don't want you to miss out. If you want to wait till we get caught up or whatever, you want to step out on trail with us, you're more welcome to do so. Be happy to have you. Love your videos. Think you're an awesome guy. You know, don't have to. Just saying if you want to, you can. And everything go from there. Let's see who else. I ain't heard nothing from Wolfie for a couple days. We were supposed to do a camp out last week. Didn't get to do it. We was going to try for this week. It don't look like this week's going to happen. So at this point, I don't know that I'm going to get cleared up enough to do it like I want to. So just got too many things going on. But all right, everybody. I know this was a short video today. We got a lot of talking, a lot of things in tonight as far as nervousness and fears and everything. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't, go ahead. If you have, you got that little subscribe button right there. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the little bell notification. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you like our content. We're stuck at 367. We got at 368 subscribers. Dropped down to 366. Went back to 368. Now we're back at 367. But it is what it is. We'll get there when we get there. I appreciate each and every one of you. We're set at almost 3,000 watch hours. We're getting close to 3,000 watch hours here on Take a Hike with Jim. And that is phenomenal. Phenomenal that we've had that we're getting that knocked out the park. And I appreciate each and every one of you and everything from there. So if I've left anything out today, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to. Don't forget to check out Tent Life Crisis. There were some new people start out on trail that's got some new announcement videos. I'll write down their names. I'll have them for you for Friday that we want to try to follow and support. But Tent Life Crisis, follow him. B, follow her. I ain't seen that from her for a little bit. It's because you follow her. Hiking on a Prayer, still love that channel. Data on Trail, make sure you go over and follow Data on Trail. Pretty good hike, pretty good guy to watch and different things. Love watching his stuff. And different things, people we can follow on trail this year together, even though we are on trail. If you're already here and people's got a channel, AT Walk Talk, make sure you go over and hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, hit that bell notification. Same thing with Chase Life. Go watch Chase Life's videos. Speaking of which, Chase Life, I need the pee bottle video. I couldn't find the damn thing. Because I need to watch the pee bottle video. But anyway, so in saying that, right, make sure you go over and give Chase Life some love. Give it a thumbs up, heart, and everything. Lisa Lou, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Appreciate each and every one of you. If I've missed anybody, I didn't mean to. We're going to get a list for Friday. We're going to start the show with a list of shout-outs and channels and people walking the Appalachian Trail through hike in 2026 that I think we should watch. Frontline Mentality, all of these people. It's not that steep. Good channels to watch. It's not that steep as a West by God Virginian, right? And go from there. So, all right, folks, thanks so much. I'm out here. I'm rambling on. Make sure everybody has a good evening. Only got one more thing to ask. Only one more favor of you. Would you please take a hike? Would you? 1,000, 2,000.